Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Cierra, and on here I love to talk about reading and writing. This video is going to be about the Seven Daughters of Dupree, so let's get right on into it. So this book, if you haven't heard of the book or if you haven't read it yet, Seven Daughters of Dupree follows our main character, 14-year-old Tati, who is searching for her father and also starts to discover a lot of familial situations and secrets along the way, and it's multiple timelines, so you get different generations perspectives of what was going on, and leading all the way back to the beginning of this maternal line. So that's the story. I'm gonna go ahead and dive into talking about the book, some of the characters. This might be a little bit more in depth than my other ones, but I'm still not going to be giving it all things away. This is more of a literary fiction, so it's not like a whole bunch of twists and turns too much in terms of like something that will completely be shocking, that, you know, will like ruin the plot for you. But I feel like just how I talk about the book will help you just understand and navigate what the story is like. And if you read the book, then you know what I'm talking about when I don't mention certain things. But yes, let's go on into the video. So actually I saw a post over on Substack under Black Girl with Books Substack, and they list some questions to get you started on talking about the book. And so I'm gonna answer these questions, and I'm going to do it with as much detail as I can possibly muster without giving the entire story away. So the first question says that in the Seven Daughters of Dupree, we meet 7 generations of women bound by a shared history of passing down family secrets. How does this legacy of secrets impact each generation? So for me, I believe the way that secrets impact each generation is that it leads to a lot of turmoil, frustrations, misunderstandings, and a lot of disconnect between mother and daughter relationships along the way. And it's not to say that like the mothers hate their daughters, but there's some things that they obviously don't tell them, and it kind of puts a strain on their relationship. Like with Tati and Nadia, they have a strain on their relationship in a different way. Versus Nadia's relationship with her mother Gladys, which I feel like that had a lot more tension between because of certain situations, and the dynamic of the family where Nadia was growing up in, and how she used to behave before a certain incident happened, but also just Gladys's way of communicating too. I feel like it's also aspects of each maternal line, each woman's perspective and life and personality that has impacted their relationship. So Gladys is she's more of like the old school kind of Black mom, where they don't apologize, but they use like other language and other ways of apologizing. And I feel like Gladys does the same thing. Like there's a certain scene where Nadia comes back home after X, Y, and Z. I'm not gonna give the information. And Gladys is just sitting at the table, and she doesn't be like, oh, welcome back home, I love you so much. She's like, oh, I guess you're here. What happened? And that type of language, it is cold and it is distant, which breeds this relationship between mother and daughter that's extremely strained, that isn't built on communication, support, or anything like that. And so it puts a strain on their relationship as well when it comes to navigating life in general. And I think that kind of bled into Nadia just a little bit, not to the extent of Gladys, but just enough to the point where Tati feels as if she has to lash out and finding out these things about her family, finding out who her father is. And Nadia acts the way she does, not in terms of like being crude or rude like how Gladys was, but because the secrets about Tati's father and all those different dynamics between Tati's best friend slash cousin, because you know how us Black people do, like, yo, literally your mom's friends' kids are your cousins, even though you guys aren't biologically related. So her talking to her aunt and uncle about who her father is, it breeds a lot of not resentment, but it uncovers some resentment, and it uncovers a lot of those negative feelings that everyone just like threw under a rug, and they just sat on it, and now they sitting on it, and everything itches, and everything's nibbling at them, and it's trying to come through, and seams are like, yeah, it's like if a dust bunny has turned into like a demon dust bunny, like it's getting a little haywire. And I feel like that kind of thing is what makes Nadia kind of lash out a little bit and become a little bit more distant, because of what Tati uncovering these secrets means to the family. And that goes even further to more towards the beginning, at the very beginning of the Seven Daughters of Dupree, and how this entire lineage is impacted. But even Gladys's mother and how she navigated life too, how that impacted Gladys growing up. And it's just a long line of a lot of misunderstanding and frustrations, but also a lot of grief and a lot of loss. And I feel like that also was a lasting impact on each woman's life, and how they connected to their daughters due to the fact of the beginning, towards the beginning of this entire lineage of this entire curse of their family. Not like it's like a curse, I say, quote unquote, a curse. And I feel like it's more of a curse of mental illness, not mental illness, but anguish, if you will, anguish, depression. So some aspects of mental health, and not mental illness, sorry, but aspects of that, because of grief, because of loss, and then having that grief and loss still sitting with you as you have children. It just leads to strains on relationships. It leads to a lot of different problems, and it gets set down each generation if it's never actually solved. Like I said, if it's just brushed under a rug, each generation is gonna have the same issues, or even different aspects of the same issue, but at the core it's the same problem, but just in different branches of it. So leading all the way up to Tati's generation, where she's trying to uncover these secrets. And then you have Gladys, when Gladys finally comes to terms to talk about her background, and everything just comes to light, and then you finally understand how and why the women in the family handle certain situations, and how the grief, the loss, the anguish, and I would say depression, how that impacted each generation. I think that's how I would answer that question. That was a long ass answer. That's like an 8-minute long answer. Who is your favorite daughter, and what are some of the traits that you appreciate here? I like Nadia. I would say I like Nadia the most. I like the traits I like of her are the fact that she was very straightforward. She was ambitious. She had a dream, even when Gladys didn't approve. Nadia was still gonna do it. Yeah. Nadia found a way to do it, and even though leaving home led to other situations happening, she still kept going, doing what she had to do. She said, well, I still got to keep it moving. And regardless of the situation that she was going through, in terms of Nadia's baby daddy, and that whole situation and all the drama that revolved around that, she still like held her own down, and she did what she had to do. She reminds me of my mom. And my mom was very much a person who was just like, at a young age, because literally she had me. She was pregnant at 21. She had me when she was 21, and then she turned 22, because my birthday's in October, hers is in December. So you're 22 years old. You have a newborn. You have your own situations going on with the baby daddy. That's not good. And you're trying to hold your own and do what you're supposed to do. It's very stressful. It's very tiring. And so being a single mother is already a whole hard situation. So I really like Nadia for handling her situation, and how she navigated life. Even when Tati does like act out, when trying to figure out who her father is, she's not shouting at Tati and being like, well, your father wasn't shit, blah, 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 blah. She's trying to keep her composure, and she's trying to at least kind of shield Tati from like the harsh negativity of that man and the relationships and all the drama that came with it. Sorry, I'm crying, y'all. It's very an emotional book. Like I said, very emotional book. But yeah. Who was the most misunderstood daughter and why? Nadia, because of the fact that she was raised a certain way, and then for this certain situation to happen and for things to change, I feel like everyone just dogged her for this situation. Like, yes, it wasn't the best situation to be in, but the way how everyone treated her after that, it was just like, really? Just disrespectful. And it just goes to show what is so, what the value and what the values are within the Black community. And it's never really, the values are never really placed in a Black woman. It's always this need to protect a Black man, even if they're shit. I don't understand that. I don't know why. Just saying. Do you feel any kinship with the place where you have never lived? If so, where and why do you think this is? I don't have any kinship with the place I've never lived. There are places that I really liked visiting and I felt like I kind of adjusted to, but not like a kinship to be like, oh, I feel like I've been here before, or that like my soul feels called here. But like when I traveled to London for a class that I took in college, my professor told everybody to like, do not go to sleep on the plane. You're gonna have really bad jet lag and it's gonna be hard to adjust. I didn't fall asleep on the plane, I don't think. No, because I was watching Girls Trip. I watched Girls Trip twice. That's when that came out. So I was watching Girls Trip. But even then, when we woke up the next day to start our excursions and start doing our curriculum, everyone was like still exhausted. Even my professor, who's done this before, was like exhausted. He said he was on his like second cup of coffee. And then he was like, oh, Cierra, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel fine. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I feel great. All right, let's go. Like, I feel like I adjusted really well to the time difference. So it really didn't impact me whatsoever. I also had a really crazy dream there too. It was very cool. Yeah. And just like had a really good experiences there. I just really liked it. Everywhere we went was really nice. I loved learning all the different information about London. Not to say like, oh my God, I love London. London's a great place, because we all know the UK ain't shit. So, but the history of it and all the things that they went through, I'm like, damn, that was a lot of karma y'all went through when actually like piecing everything together, not just like the London history, but also with like slave trades, the fact that every museum had a whole bunch of African artifacts that y'all stole, like piecing everything together like that, like all the negative things that they've done, plus all of the chaos and problems that they went through at the same time. I'm like, this was karma every single time. Like with Jack the Ripper, the plague, like every single time I said, damn, y'all went through a lot, but still, y'all still up and kicking. And now with finding out that one of the princes was in them files, ooh, y'all said, oh my God. See, it's just like as soon as they think they okay and that they good, some mess happens because y'all treated Meghan Markle like that, and now look at this. Like it happens every single time. It's so fascinating to me. But yet here in America, we don't have that kind of stuff, because they just keep sweeping things under the rug and they get away with it. I'm just like, just certain things like that, just like piecing that together. But also the history of London was very interesting. I love Freud. The fact that Freud was kicked out of Vienna because he was doing some things and telling women these certain information, like maybe like it's because their husbands can't satisfy them. And he was kicked out of Vienna for his research and everything like that. So he fled to London. I love Freud, okay? Freud is that man. He said, it's gonna be somebody else. It's that man's problem, okay? We gonna chalk it up to that. But also Freud was just a very interesting dude in general too. I like Freud. I like Carl Jung, even though they differ on their beliefs. Carl Jung started to become more like metaphysical and spiritual, and Freud was like, I don't know about that. But still, like, their connection and learning about Freud, that was a lot of fun for me. And then going to his house and actually seeing the shades that he was on when he unalived himself, because he started to get really sick. His body started to deteriorate. They were like, oh yeah, this is what's going on with you. And their doctor, when the doctor came to see him, and he said, absolutely not, I am not living through all that. So he told his daughter Anna to unalive him with the medication, and she didn't want to do it. So he did it himself. I was like, you know what? I approve. Because why would you want to go through that deterioration of your body and experience that, to go from a fully functional person to literally feeling your body falling apart? I'd rather not. So you know what? Good on you, Freud, for doing that. So I never really felt a kinship to a place, but just like going to London, it was just a really, really cool experience. I really, really liked it. Yeah, that's like the main place I went to that's out of the country. I went to Canada before for a day or two, but that was like for my 8th grade graduation. But I don't really feel a kinship anywhere, but I do want to go to South Korea because I'm just curious. I've always been fascinated with the culture ever since I got into K-pop. I did a whole presentation on South Korean music and the history of it. So going all the way back to when South Korea and North Korea were together, and the separation and how music changed and everything like that, from the initial like political climate and what was going on between them to where we are today with K-pop. And also just knowing K-pop, right, and learning more about K-pop in general lately, and just like the dynamics of being in these different industries, being part of these different companies, and the problems with each company, the fact that a lot of these idols are unaliving themselves left and right. I'm curious. I just want to go and see what the hell is going on. But also the culture is very interesting. I love me a K-drama. So I just want to go and just be part of it and see it and experience the South Korean culture. But I also do want to go to Thailand too, because I'm in Agase and I want to go where Bam Bam was from, because Thailand, they love some Bam Bam, and a lot of them are Agases, and I just want to go and experience that. I just want to go. Like, I just want to be there and be like, you know what, you guys, like, I just want to know other cultures and like just explore. Like, I'm just nosy. I'm a nosy person, okay? I'm a nosy bitch. Like, I am a spiritual person, so I believe in not going to the Appalachian Mountains. I believe everything that they tell us. Like Stonehenge sounds really cool to go visit. So it's not really a kinship to any place, but I'm just the nosy bitch that likes to go and like learn things, okay? But I'm also not gonna fuck around to find out. Like, I'm not gonna go up in the woods and be like, oh, let me call the skinwalkers. No, I'm not gonna do that. But I just love learning. That's just a roundabout way to answer that question. I'll probably just answer one more question, so we're not. No, I think I can finish all of these. It's 9:58. Ugh. I gotta get ready for work in a minute. Let's answer number 6. Are there any special dishes that have been passed down to you similar to the one by the Duprees? Share the recipe if you can. I don't think there's any special dishes that were passed down, but there are certain dishes that each generation made. Like my great-grandma, my Gigi, she made German chocolate cake. I never ate it because I didn't like coconut. Like, the taste of it, I tried it once when I was a kid. I didn't like it. I still don't like coconut shavings like that. But what literally was, I feel like for me that was passed down was me having my own snack cabinet. So I had my own snack cabinet in her house, and I mentioned it to my aunt before, of like the Keebler's fudge stripe cookies. And my aunt was like, those were your cookies. I was like, oh. I was just a spoiled kid. So I had my own snack cabinet. I had stuff that was specifically for me in my great-grandma's house and then in my Nana's house. My Nana, she made sweet potato pies. And here's the thing though. I made her sweet potato pies with her a few times. But the last Thanksgiving before she passed, we made them. I do not remember anything. But also, she didn't write nothing down either. So it's both of our faults. Okay, I blame both of us. So she passed with the recipe with her. And I'm pointing over here because that's where she's at. And she got the recipe and we do not. And I'm pissed. Because every Thanksgiving, we're like, damn, we ain't got no sweet potato pies. We don't know what kind of milk she used. I can't remember if it was evaporated milk or condensed milk. I don't know. I don't remember. So that technically should have been passed down, but it wasn't. so I'm kind of mad. And yeah. But you know, I feel like each generation has like just different dishes that we probably made before my great grandma. We don't know. I don't know personally. I've been doing my own like ancestry, trying to figure out family lineage and all that kind of stuff. I gotta find some family members who are still alive. I still gotta talk to a family member. I keep forgetting too. But just connecting and see like what family members were like. What did they like to eat? Where, you know, what were they like? And just honor them in the way that I can. But there's no dishes that were like directly passed down. So I'm kind of mad about that. Because both of them passed away with all the recipes, okay? Like, we ain't got a cookbook, not even like a little sticky note, not even like an index card with a basic ass recipe like I've seen before on like online where someone was like, oh, this was my grandma's like very important recipe for like cookies or whatever, and it's like the most basic recipe. We don't even have that. Like, we don't have nothing. But yeah, that's just my experience, I guess. That's all I have for this video because I gotta get to work. So if you like this video, be sure to like it, comment below any answer to any of these questions. I can provide the link to the Substack so you guys can go to the Substack. I'm not gonna post the questions because it's not mine. I'm gonna send you to the Substack page, and if you got Substack, you better subscribe to Black Girl with Books Substack. Also, I'll probably be doing a separate video on Substack profiles that you guys should follow. But yeah. And until next time, stay magical. Bye.